Hello YouTube and welcome to episodes 2 and 3 in the Tsukimonogatari reaction series. So I'll put this at the start of the video now. I didn't remember that there was some contention about what to watch next. There is a poll in Discord. Please vote on it. It's whether we watch Koyomi Monogatari next or Owari Monogatari next. If you feel passionately about it, please go on Discord and vote. Anytime that I say we're watching Koyomi Monogatari first in the video is a mistake. There's a poll. We will choose it. It'll be contingent on that poll. So we're back here again today, but it is not our normal day. It is actually Sunday, and I've found myself with a little bit of free time with a free house and no other real obligations, and I was kind of bored, so I'm like, hey, why not get ahead on the old Monogatari stuff, because I really want to see what happens next, and also I work pretty heavily over the next couple days, so it'll make it difficult to do two. So the plan is to do one episode today, one episode then Monday, and then edit Tuesday out the normal time. That should be how it works if all goes according to plan. As always, first things first, and we have 10 or so YouTube comments to get through, so we'll have a look at what people had to say about the first episode of Tsukimonogatari last week. First comment by Ben-san kind of links the time code of when Araragi starts randomly breaking out with the Platinum Disco dance. I was very, very happy that I understood this reference and got what they were going for. I'm like, the kind of bobbing, like rhythmically, as well as the dance itself, reminded me of something, and it was something Monogatari related, and I'm like, okay, Platinum Disco. So I'm very happy that I got that in the moment, because I don't normally do things like that. I got pretty jazzed about me getting the Madoka reference as well, so that's always good. Next comment here by Parnik. Finally, time for Ononoki's arc. She appeared quite a lot in the second season, so it's a good time to explore the rest of her character and what she actually has going on. There is, I meant to talk about this probably a lot more last week, the kind of production value increase overall. It's just a little bit crisper in the animation department, definitely movement-wise, right? Again, Monogatari, very stationary show. It has its pop-off moments where the characters move really well and has great action, but it's mostly about poses and art design and that kind of thing, as well as it's obviously got a very big story focus rather than production focus. But when the production is focused on particular things, it isn't always character fluidity. And yeah, that's one of the main highlights of this stuff. Maybe we're moving more towards that direction. I will note as well that Kizu Monogatari notably has some really good character animation as well. So maybe that's a direction they went for the series post this point in production, if that makes any sense. So yeah, that's the difference in release windows and amount of episodes is due to this. Tsukimonogatari is the official beginning of the final season, the beginning of the end, and kind of the transition between second season and Owari. But it's mostly just build up for what's next. So maybe we're introducing some concepts that'll maybe get built upon more as we move into Owari Monogatari. Just out of curiosity, let me open up my little thingo here and have a scroll. Yeah, okay, so I've got Tsukimonogatari, then Koyomi Monogatari, Owari Monogatari second season, and Zoku Owari Monogatari, and then some extras apparently in my file set. So that's kind of the order we're going for that. Just, yeah, I didn't know what we're doing next, and that's what we're doing next. It's always good to know. Very interesting idea about Tsuki pretending to be just another arc. It retains some elements of pure character arcs of second season while changing up a bit. Araragi is once again the narrator, I should say, showing that the focus is back on him, something I probably should have mentioned last week as well. It is a very, very classic Araragi POV story so far, down to many, many details, and no Orgi yet, potentially teasing that Orgi may be involved somewhere along the line. Maybe more than we know already is involved. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's part of the idea of the arc so far. It's moving on, it's letting go, it's change. Change is sometimes a little bit scary. It's using the template of an arc and kind of tropes and things we've seen before, and using that as a bouncing off point to probably make a statement about the show as a whole as it's come to this current point, you know? Kind of, if you write enough of the similar arcs and with the similar structure that Nisuo-sen does, you probably start to have some feelings about it that you want to display on screen. Tired of all the crazy stuff that happened in second season, wants a break, maybe some of the fan service and jokes in the episode can be attributed to that. I just thought it was neat. I caught the Platinum Disco reference. Yes, the line about a smaller girl is in reference to Shinobu, of course. It isn't him being gross, it's just him being gross about the the god that lives inside of him. Not the god, the vampire. Oh my god, all over the place today. And yeah, I'm keen to watch this opening another time. Like, the song is killer. It's killer. Next comment here by Motimo. Always love the Tsukimonogatari appreciation. I feel like this arc is underrated compared to other arcs, not as much as Hana Monogatari though. It's still yet to start, IMO. It's good so far in what it's trying to do metafictionally, but as for the content itself, I'm yet to see it. What is our overall point? What conclusion are we going to come to? I see you, Nishio-sen, but what are we going to say by the end? You know, are we going to say that change is good? Are we going to accept change? Or are we going to push back against it? Are we going to go back to our old staples a little bit? I don't know. It's going to be hard to see. And just kind of a correction here, I guess. The Nadeko in hospital due to the fake slug oddity. I remember it kind of similar to the Karen thing. Makes her sick, or at least under the weather enough to make it justifiable. Like, and then it goes away. Like, again, we're playing off a lot of that Karen B stuff. Next comment here, Protector of Ruby. I really like Suki. Particularly the first and last episodes. So you've already got through one of those. I'll have to look forward to this one next week for sure. Yeah, presentation stuff, compositionally, it just feels kind of different. I noted the character animation earlier this video, but also there's the transition stuff. We're doing a bit more of a scrapbooky style that's a little bit multicolored, a little bit patterned, instead of our classic one color text on screen internal thoughts. We're doing something a little bit different there. Again, difference good, change is good, and this arc being about change works in kind of that sense as well. That's actually pretty cool. I like that a lot. Yeah, it's going to be interesting when I get to the end of all this and rate, I guess, parts of the story, books, I guess you would call them, as well as the arcs individually. I think that'll be a little treat. But yeah, for right now, I don't really have a tier list really yet. But I kind of do, but I don't, but I kind of do. And yeah, Protector of Ruby, following up on one of the comments from a previous week, talking about kind of the handing the ball to Numachi Roka during that arc being one of the most impactful moments, and kind of mentioning that early and then paying off on that later. And not sure why, just really stuck with them. That's cool. I like stuff like this where it has a personal meaning to people and they don't really even understand why. It just sticks in the brain. It really got to you, you know? And fiction's weird like that. Your brain's weird like that. It'll just weird things, and you can't even justify why it really hit you. I don't know. It's an interesting one. John Bueno with his comment here. Man, their conversation in the bath goes for about twice as long in the book. Yeah, interestingly enough, minor things, gags were cut. Nothing in the general understanding of the overall picture of the narrative, which is good, but it just parallels Koyomi's and Tsukihi's exchange at the beginning of Nekoshiro when discussing love. This is a great point. This is, again, probably something I should have noticed, because that was probably where that arc peaked, IMO, because it was the most, like, new stuff we got and the most, like, internal we were diving into Araraki. And this kind of works in a similar way as a setup for what is coming next, and why what we're doing is important. You know what I mean? Just kind of setting it up that way. Not much lore-wise. Again, it was a pretty light episode last week. I noticed the Easter eggs for Platinum Disco and the Madoka Girls, so don't need to write a comment for once. Good, I was on the ball. It's a very Monogatari thing to do to start a new arc, have the first episode and not feature the title character in said arc. I think they've done this multiple times now. Always love Benjamin Lee coming through with some weird pun translation explanation time. Tsukihi says, if you are getting worked up by your naked sister, do you want to leave? Since it's a bath, do you want to leave? Which is a double up on the yokujo, which can both mean sexual desire and bath, both pronounced with the same, I guess you would call it romanji. So from the audio, as Araraki remarks, it's like Tsukihi said the same line twice. I just thought it was more in reference to the little bit of the line on screen we got before as well. But no, there was actually a Japanese reason for it, and it went over my head. So that's very, very cool. Again, I'm sure there's like 5 of these an episode at least, where it's just like, that was very cleverly written, and I just went straight over my head because, like, I try to listen to the dialogue and the voice acting and that side of it, right? But at the end of the day, I'm just reading the subtitles to get the story. So it's hard to focus on what they're actually saying. It kind of goes in one ear, out the other. Dharma Amancia here. Welcome to the beginning of the end. It's almost a little bit sad. It's almost a little bit sad, but we still got plenty of content to go yet. So Tsukihi for me is weird. It has weak episodes like Hana, but overall I like Tsuki better. It's weird that these two are getting lumped in a lot in comparisons. Maybe it's a contentious point. I'm not really sure. I guess they do follow each other. I don't know, weird one. And last couple comments here from Simon, kind of talking about the sad life of not immortal kids. You got hit by your sister in the leg just because you were annoying. Now you have a perma injured finger, and you're gonna feel that for the rest of your life. Good for Araragi, kinda. You can consider the first 10 minutes of the episode as Araragi the storyteller or Isio Isin the storyteller are telling you what the story is. This story can't be forever. Repetitive tales of monsters, girls, and a boy who is going to save the day is old. It's time to start the end, and it's scary. Moving on is scary in every meaning of this. I like this a lot because, you know, we're in the hands of Araragi again, but we've always been in the hands of Nisio Isin. And kind of this tale, this cycle that we're in, it is getting kind of repetitive, and they understand that, and we're going to have to end this at some point. There's going to have to be some concrete finish line here. Hopefully we get to it in one piece. Hopefully this always scary isn't too foreboding. It's timeline time, and also a little bit of a recap from last week. The episode opens with a monologue about Yotsugi and what she actually is, and how she explicitly isn't a human, but a facsimile, with some additional input from Shinobu, kind of going into like not trying to become a human, but trying to be like with humans, you know what I mean? Like not assimilate into the culture, but communicate with and be a part of their little circles and that kind of thing, you know, and not become them, be one with them. I think was the wording there, or something close. In a blast from the past for Monogatari, the rest of the episode consists of sisters waking up Araragi and incestuous bathing. But again, in the parts where this doesn't happen, we are seemingly setting up something regarding the passage of time, regrets, change, in basically every way in the piece of media. There was stuff in the music, there was stuff in the visual language, there was stuff in the story, there was a lot of stuff in the story. There was little anecdotes about Karen, there's little anecdotes about Nadeko, there's little anecdotes about Araragi going into college, and how's that going to change things, and you know, how have things been impacted from what we've done up to now, up to February. And then this is the kicker, and really the main kind of like revving of the engine of the plot, is that he kind of looks in the mirror and sees nothing. Kind of like a vampire, right? But also simultaneously like he isn't himself. He's looking in the mirror and not seeing his own reflection reflected back at him. That's definitely something we're getting at on a deeper level for sure. So yeah, is Araragi not being himself, not being like he normally is, while simultaneously falling back into similar rote stuff of arcs in the past? Yeah, we're definitely being very self-reflective, metatextual, lots of different stuff, right? It's not just incestuous bathing. I wanted to get that across, and that's why last episode works in a way where previous episodes, where they just kind of be sexual for a long time, really don't. So predictions, I guess, would be kind of Yotsugi getting involved in the plot. I don't know how. I'm guessing Araragi is going to be somewhat worried about what we're doing, right? I think. I wonder if anybody else will become involved. I know that Senju Gahara should still at least be around. I think Hanakawa is off doing whatever, right? Being away from the situation, gallivanting the countryside potentially still. I don't know. Are we going to get some Kambaro again? It'd be nice. I always like to see Kambaro. It's not needed now. I've seen her recently. Just, yeah, an interesting one for sure. But, you know, it's pretty safe bet that Yotsugi's going to get involved, considering her name's on the front of the box. And Orgi, Gainazuko, future stuff, future tensions there. Is any of that going to come to pass? It's unclear to me as of right now. What is clear to me is that I need to do my shill stuff. If you like the video, consider liking the video. If you like the video and you want to see more, consider subscribing to the channel. Comment below anything you thought about the episode, anything I can do to improve my presentation, comment below. I'm doing follow for follow on Twitter, so follow me on Twitter if you'd like me to follow you back, and the Discord, join Discord, love Discord. And yeah, jumping into episode 2 of Tsukimonogatari right now. Rightio, got episode 2 up here ready to go. Let me pop that up there. 24 minutes and 13 seconds on this one, so sync up accordingly. As always, there'll be a picture-in-picture version provided below, as well as using the Call Girls subs. Just going to give it a 3, 2, 1. Rightio. 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, straight where we were. It most certainly is. Is he gone? What, not letting her look? Don't do it. Oh no. Yeah, I forgot about this part of it, right? Well, he's gonna get his ass beat. Oh, and the stained glass, that's great. Yeah, the animation, huh? And they both got in the bath together anyway. Great, and then into the opening. Yeah, that animation's really something, huh? Yeah, I think it's the kind of vocalization there. Vocoder, right? And the ba 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 in the instrumental. I did my whole deep dive, right? It was Mira who did the music for this. This is my favorite part. Kind of that pre-chorus. Oh, that's synth too. Hello. It's a little bit quiet for me. It's on 94, I guess. That's up to 100. As well as this melody on the chorus. Kind of our opening one as well. Still not in love with it visually, but it's good. It's cute. Especially this last part where she just like looks at me. Yeah, it's just like scary. Like yelling at his shadow. Okay, that's funny. Like trying to wake her up. Like he gets woken up. Oh, that'll get her up, right? Okay, that's very tokusatsu as well, when she's like growing. Yeah, you'd be an expert on it, right? I'm not ignoring him being like binded too. Yeah, but it should have healed, yeah? Yeah, it's something else. I kind of forgot about the toe. It would be good. Okay. How about the teeth? Huh. No, ignore that. No, I'm sure she has a better idea. Huh? Just slow, is it? Oh. And it's not as bad as it was? Yeah, it's better than it being broken. Well, me too, based on what I saw in Kizu. Yeah. Oh. Well, you can't go outside then, right? Yeah. Probably Yotsugi, right? A specialist, huh? The lighting of the room's great. Yeah, but she's surely able to help. Frog fleshy. Mm-hmm. Yeah, what's the frogs? You don't have anybody's number? Well, if you can get onto Senjo, you can get onto Kaiki, who can get onto Kaganui. I don't think he wants anything to do with Kaiki. I mean, yeah, your pride says no, right? Oh, look at the frogs. Who's the other specialist? Oh, yeah, Guy Nezuko. I don't want to talk to her. I know everything. Yeah, she is. I don't want to talk to her for any reason. Yeah, just live in your room forever. Be like me. That could work, because that way you don't damage your pride by going through Kaiki. I forget Kaganui's even in the show sometimes, so... Oh. From whom? I know everything, huh? Yeah? Hikomori. Bro. Oh, that's why the sunlight was so bright previous episode. That's great. No. Uh, what? She's a little gremlin this arc, isn't she? Hug? What? Kind of the rotation, too. Yeah, again. Okay. What do you think's going to happen? I mean, you need to go to the place. Oh yeah, right. There's that whole connection from Nisei. Keep forgetting. So if you're associating with Kaganui, you want Tsukihi out of the picture. Okay, nice scene. It wasn't the incestuous kiss I thought it was going to be. As you do, just walking with my friend. Ooh, a little bit of an arcade, a little bit of a carnival thing. Weird. Why? This is visually very cool, though. No, I'm a doll. Get it? A mere facsimile of a human. Oh, she's gone. These things are so rigged too. Or maybe I'm just bad at them. Claw machines. The music is great this arc too. What were you trying to get? Okay. Weird. Alright. Whatever you say. No. Rule of threes, by the way. Nope. Apparently not. Yeah, you gotta pull her up by the head. Oh. Okay. There was a few attempts. 12. Right, in the process of moving her. I see. Yeah, we came here to talk to her. Come on, man. Bro, the animation on her, I guess. It looks like it's just a corpse. That was very well good. That was very well paced. I liked that. It's a showing of respect. So she doesn't get her ass beat again. Oh. Yeah, she was very light on her feet. I remember that part. It's been a long time since we've seen you. I should say that. Oh, back to the ruins, huh? Show me your feet. Oh, as so it is. Healing socks has to be. Oh, yes, of course. Makes perfect sense, of course. We love the moonlight. Does she hate the yays? That's funny. Lick his feet. I'm trying to make a wound so it'll heal. Oh wait, no, you're analyzing? It's very robotic. I like that. Like that. Okay, and that's how we're gonna get that side of it. I'm gonna break your fingers. Remember when she like beat his ass? We're testing. I like they've made some changes to her design a little bit. Okay. I love the high angles on her too. Ooh, the zoom. I like that. There's a universe in his eye? Alright, this is pretty funny. Yeah, I got it. Think of Hanakawa too is interesting. Yeah. The little cat son's pretty good. Yep. There you go. It's pretty good. Yeah, clearly, you know, her face too. What is it? Probably correct. What is the rest? Shinobune-san. But you're very light, right? No one's ever called her that. It's Shinobu. Oh, the costume though. Hello. It's okay. I like this castle too. Why are you trying to put on airs? Are you embarrassed that she was able to sneak up on you like that? No, actually, we need your help to confirm something. There's something wrong with Araragi. Yeah, the movement on that hand is. This show's like good now. That came out wrong. You know what I mean, though, right? Like it's well animated now. Can we get some forward momentum with the plot? It's fine. It's fine. Yosh, yosh. Oh, on one knee. It's okay. People can sneak up on you. It's okay. Yeah, you did. Yeah. hmm Somebody that immature, I guess. What do you mean? Okay, it's fourth Wally. Gotcha. Yes. Spit it out. Yeah, but what else? You implied that there was something else. Ha ha ha. Racked up debuffs for your intelligence. Nah, I haven't heard from him in ages. What do you mean? Oh, you flew too close to the sun in a way. Yeah, I guess. I see. In kind of that Monogatari sense of if you are something, or if you act like something enough times, you become something. But how does this impact like the Yotsugi doll aspect of it, right? Yeah. At the ruins of the cram school too is very good. Yeah. Oh yeah, because he went to the thinger every day. He went to the shrine to try to fix it. Yeah. He also wanted to save Senjogahara in a way, right? I don't know. I don't think he can. Gotcha. Yeah, I thought we were heading towards the end of the episode. Yeah, with that cold, calculating, robotic style to what she has going on, she said that, which is all too terrifying. That hey, maybe we've drifted into a problem that's unfixable. Especially, yeah, going towards the final season would make a lot of sense for a Araragi Koyomi to go through something like this, right? Bringing it full circle back to where the story began. But some intriguing stuff there. I think the most best stuff of the episode was the production. Just killer. I can't believe I didn't notice more of it last episode. It's just like really great pop-off moments here. I'm guessing that Monogatari series has been making a fair bit of money up to this point. So it'd be easy for a shaft to invest a lot of money into something like this. But it's showing through in a big way, for sure. It's also pretty funny. I found myself laughing more than normal, I think. Rightio, a little bit of analysis on episode 2 of Tsukimonogatari. And we're back. I've written a little bit of a summary of that episode. Again, overall, there wasn't really that much that went on. It was really, again, the big reveal at the end of the episode that's thrown everything into disarray. I do like how he talked through things, especially in that bedroom scene with Shinobu. I thought that was quite nice. And I'll go through the particular parts that tickled my fancy and were quite funny during the analysis. But yeah, for now, let's just do a little bit of a recap. After noticing the reflection, Araragi's attention now turns to his toe, which, if you remember in the first episode of this arc, he hurt. I forget if it was Tsukihi or Karen. I've written Tsukihi, but it could have been either. Either way, he hurts his toe. Araragi is scared that he is turning into a vampire, but uses the toe as evidence that, he's not healing the way a vampire would heal. He convenes with Shinobu on the subject, and she reveals that the toe is healing, only very slowly, and we later learn that that's mostly because the sun's out. He can heal very quickly when basked in moonlight, of course. It's suggested then that he should attain some help from a specialist. He has no idea where Oshino is, so that's out of the question. He's not going to Kainki. He needs to go to Kaganui. Doesn't have her number, needs to contact her somehow. decides, hey, Guy Nezuko's the answer, gets a notification on his phone. It's already from Guy Nezuko telling him the right information, which is all very creepy. But yeah, that was a pretty cool reveal. I liked that. Araragi then meets with Yotsugi, and after she is retrieved from the claw machine with the claw, they begin some preliminary tests on whether or not Araragi is a vampire. Let me scroll down slightly to see what these tests are. Foot biting and finger breaking, of course. Araragi then confirms that he is becoming more vampiric over time through these tests, and he asks if it's possible to fix, and is met with an impossible answer, that being that it is impossible. And most clearly, this is where we're going for the rest of the show, yeah? That makes sense to me. You don't put as much emphasis on something being impossible in such a robotic manner that it then suddenly becomes fixed for some reason. What have we learned through perspective, though? That things may seem impossible at some points, but through the perspective of others, they aren't. But it feels to me like Yotsugi's talking about it like it's just a fact of life. Like, this is unfixable, which doesn't bode well at all. But again, would make a lot of, sense. If this is Tsukimonogatari, and as I read before, we're going into potentially a Koyomi Monogatari, I don't know. It would make a lot of sense to me if that's the case. And the why of the question is interesting as well. I like how we justify it with his actions, to Sengoku, right? Going up to that shrine every day, putting on his vampire, trying to save the day, trying to put it all in his shoulders. That in the process has made himself more vampiric to the point where it's taking over. It's a ticking time bomb now, you know? So yeah, how many characters are we going to tell about this? Clearly Shinobu knows, clearly Yotsugi knows, but are we going to spread this to the rest of the gang? Are they going to get involved somehow in this crisis? How is Yotsugi Doll still the name of the arc, you know? I see a lot of doll-like tendencies there, for sure, being in the vending machine. Just a toy, just a copy of something else, right? It doesn't have any real life to it, only activates life upon being collected from such a thing. She's still got a lot of this going on too, which is always fun. Yeah, I don't really have much else to say. I think that final scene is very intriguing, and I think we're going to leave it about there, and I'll bring up the episode. Oh yeah, did I mention this episode's also very horny? It's still very, very horny, which is good. The boob joke gave me a good old chuckle, though. That was quite nice. But yeah, for the start, we're doing... It's almost classic, rom-com material, right? Just somebody walking in at the wrong time and seeing a situation that maybe isn't the way they thought it was. So let me explain this for those in the audience that maybe don't know. He's trying to grab her face to stop her looking at the mirror and getting worried and getting involved in everything. In the process, Tsukihei gets the wrong idea and thinks that they've been flirting this whole time, and now he's moving on to the next step. Ha ha ha. So then, yeah, she's puckering her lips. She's all ready to have a kiss with her brother, of course. And then Karen enters scene, and it, you can play out the rest from here for sure. The stained glass is a lovely touch, though. Just because the back of the scene is glass as well, and they're kind of in that sunlight. Very interesting that they're in the sunlight as well. It's also part of the reason why the sunlight was so harsh in the first episode. I just thought it was for dramatic effect, but no, the sunlight is kind of the enemy now in this arc. Think about what we know, though, right? Just ignoring what's on screen. Araragi at least makes it to the next few months, right? Because Kambaru sees him when she's doing that whole thing, and he doesn't seem like a vampire then, right? He seemed pretty chill. I don't know. So long as we're keeping an eye on that timeline, I don't think I see a world where Araragi can die before that point in time, which is May. Or April? I think it was maybe April. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Like this a lot, so first we see this, and then he's just yelling at his shadow indiscriminately, trying to get Shinobu to come out, finally luring her out with the promise of donuts. Even using maybe this line that was used to get Araragi out of bed once upon a time as well. Yeah, she shows up for golden chocolate. And yeah, this is giving me Power Rangers, right? Like the kind of flash growth there, I guess you would call it. Like here. Yeah, I'm sure there's what you could link it to Ultraman or any of that earlier tokusatsu stuff as well. I don't know. There's surely something there beyond what I'm saying because I'm dumb. So then, yeah, she gets disappointed in the lack of donuts and ties him up and explains what's happened to Shinobu. He's turned into a vampire, or at least seemingly is in the stages of. Yeah, just little, like, I don't know, there's something about this season and this new production style. Like a really cartoony sound effect as he picks up this leg as well. And there's, like, slapsticky stuff all over it. I guess it helps the show to be taken less seriously. You know what I mean? When they're doing their goofy, etchy stuff that's a little bit outrageous sometimes. It helps that it's keeping it light in these scenes so we don't take any of it very seriously at all. It's all clearly in jest. But when they need to do a serious moment, like right at the end, they still nail it. So hitting that balance at the moment, it's pretty well done. So yeah, Shinobu has a little bit of a look at the toe, concludes that he is turning into a vampire, he is healing, if not very slowly. There's something about this scene too, it's her perched up on that little chair there, him sitting, cross-legged at attention, but she's still calling him master, right? They've clearly got that relationship down pat now. They're basically best friends, inseparably close, to the point where they'll just reveal anything to each other, right? And they're very casual, the casual, like, kind of sitting pose by Shinobu, right? As we see later in the episode, she's very prideful about these kind of things, but maybe not in the presence of somebody like Araragi. She's too close to care. Cool, and now we bring up the sunlight. If a vampire with that level of self-healing basked in the sunlight, they wouldn't even burst into flames. I think they would turn into ash or something to that effect. They'll just turn to ash, and that would be the end of it. And then, yep, shut the blinds, right? So you're not a very strong vampire, at least right now, but you're going to become one, I think, right? Over time. Shinobu suggests seeing the specialist about it, thinks of a certain person in mind. We initially think probably Oshino, but Oshino is still nowhere to be seen. Instead, we're suggesting Ononoki Yotsugi. But getting into contact with Ononoki in service of seeing Kaganui, that's what Araragi implies either way. This is a little bit weird. Like, look at Shinobu. Her head looks kind of like squashed, but we did the whole frog plushie thing here, which is all very cool. It's even a frog down the bottom there, kind of changing the look of the room to be way more like kiddie, and like it's like a daycare, So we've changed the lighting from that to this really harsh, like almost like doctor's office-esque lighting, right? Just like impossibly bright lights on like a child's room. Is it referential to something potentially? I don't know. Yeah, he just keeps going and grabbing more frog plushies. Yeah, it's probably referential. But then, yeah, Araragi doesn't know how to get into contact with Yotsugi and Kaganui at all, so thus poses a problem. How does he get the number? Shinobu suggests contacting Kaiki to get a number for help. This is way against the rules, for multiple reasons, right? Kaiki, 1, isn't allowed to talk to any of them ever again, according to Senjugahara, according to her little speech before in Koimonogatari. 2, Araragi's pride wouldn't allow for that, right? There's the whole thing with Senjugahara and Kaiki that he's still cognizant of, as well as asking for help from somebody that smug. Surely there'd be some kind of retorts there, and, it'd just piss him off. Kaiki pisses him off. It's like going to your worst enemy asking for help with something. You don't want to do that. Yeah, there's something here with, like, this little piece of animation, too, where he's like, oh, if the video wants to behave properly. Yeah, like, this is referential, too, probably. But again, and it talks to some level of focus on character movement and expression that probably just wasn't there previous seasons as well. Now, next one along the line, we can't do Oshino, we can't do Kaiki, we need to get into contact with Kaganui. Maybe just ask Gai Nezuko first. That seems way even worse than Kaiki. She is scary. I don't trust Gai Nezuko. So middle ground, suggesting contacting Gaian to get into touch with Kaganui is the best chance we have. And then just as they suggest it, Araragi goes to his phone. He's already got a mail. Tonight at 7 o'clock, 4th floor of the department store, across from the station to the game corner. You should be able to meet with Yotsugi there. I have made those arrangements. This gratitude someday, I hope you repay by your friendship. Your friend, Gai Nezuko. Scary! Scary. But again, she knows everything. It's clear. We understand why this has happened. She doesn't have like a bug planted in the room. She just knows. That's why it's scary. Enter Tsukihi into the room. Still clearly like horny or something. It's all very weird. Like, I won't let you sleep or something. Like, you guys are siblings, you know? She's all very animated. She's up and about. She's moving around. She's asking for apologies and what form does she want the apologies in and that kind of thing. So, yep, goes in. Oh, you think it's big incestuous kiss time, but no. It's way more serious. Then, yeah, this, like, mad rotation. Like, that's insanely good looking. Like, I haven't seen something that good looking in the show since Kizu. So, again, clearly another big step up production wise. But let's talk about the dialogue. You and Karen are going to go and spend the night at Kambaro's. I've got to sort some shit out. I don't want to worry you guys either, but in the process, this is kind of worrying her. But I've got some stuff that I can only sort out at night, so I need you guys out of the picture so you're not following me around doing fire sister shit, right? Please just do what I say. Again, part of the whole thing as well that I keep forgetting is that you have to hide Tsukihi when talking about Kaganui, because Kaganui's got a whole thing with aberrations from memory, with Nisei Monogatari, with Tsukihi Phoenix. Doesn't want to repeat that situation where we see Tsukihi just fucking die, you know? Yeah, or else it'll be a second coming of Summer Break, which we don't want. There'll be a big hole in the in the kind of the front of the house, as well as a big hole in the rest of Tsukihi as well. You could argue that this is him learning from his mistakes in a way. It's kind of nice. Even if I do keep forgetting about it. Cool, now we're making our way to the game corner. We're going to see an old friend, I guess. This part of the production paired with the music is kind of insane. Like, even this mirrored text is mad. Like, I was talking more to like this stuff. Like it's almost like they're playing like Frogger or something. And there she is. If you didn't get it, she's like a doll. She's like a stuffed animal. She's part of the kind of claw game with all the rest of the stuffed animals. She doesn't come to life until the point where she's out of that machine and talkatuable. Is she exhibiting these human qualities when not in the presence of humans, or is she just like totally like Toy Storying it out? Is she just like laying limp? You know, I don't know. But yeah, the music's doing a lot here. It's all very creepy. Matching kind of those ominous words that she has at the end of the episode as well. I like it quite a lot. Cool, and then these claw games are scams, so we try to get her out multiple times and it just doesn't work. For a start, he's like aiming in the complete wrong spot. He's not even trying to get that kind of like 3D angle where you put your head around the other side of the machine either, which is a big rookie error. We do take a moment as well to kind of see our reflection in the glass. Shinobu sees her reflection and Araragi doesn't. This probably doesn't bode well. And of course, like Shinobu does, can't take an opportunity without bragging about herself at full power. I do like the kind of piece of text on screen as well, kind of delineating when we're taking another round. Kind of nice graphic of Ononoki in the back as well. You've got to get a direct hit on her head to get her out, or at least change the position to get her close enough to the hole to get her out, you know? I'm just trying to see why this is included. Why are we putting so much emphasis on how he gets her out of the machine? I guess it's just to double down on the kind of lifelessness, the humanitylessness of her, and that, hey, she really is like a doll, you know? Shinobu suggests that maybe Araragi has lost sight of why he came here in the first place. Impossible. Is there anything more important than getting a little girl? Excuse me? Do you want to repeat that? But no, she's kind of saying, hey, Kaganui's important. Why don't we do the Kaganui thing? So kind of tries to talk to her initially, nothing. There's no answer. It just looks like a corpse, and then she wakes up. You took way too long. You were too shit at the game. Because Araragi tries to lift the skirt, Choppu, maybe a mini reference back to the old Sengoku days where he tried to lift that skirt and got a very different response. And then yay! I love a good yay as well. I'm kind of warming to that. It's kind of hilariously terrible, and I kind of love it. Still goes with the Oni Oni-chan for Araragi, but then goes for the Shinobu Nesan. Again, is this maybe a show of respect? I'm not down on the Japanese like that, but isn't this sometimes what you do, right? I still think she's a bit scarred from that initial fight in Nisei Monogatari. Is Kaganui around here? You by yourself? No. There she is, light as a feather, right above you the entire time. And then Shinobu gets a bit embarrassed about this later in the episode. And then, we randomly take the conversation to the ruins of the cram school because symbolism. This was the last place where they really spoke and had their confrontation at the cram school. Seeing the ruins of it and the kind of the ruins of the story itself as we're making our way through it, right? This is all that's left after all that's happened. The story, as well as the cram school, is on its last legs. It is in the process of changing. There's definitely something in that for sure. There's some more really good stuff with the animation side of it, right? Just like holding that foot and Araragi straining for balance, and then moving it like that as well. Just like way more fluid than earlier seasons. I don't know how many times I can say it really. Araragi's toe is now completely healed, and it is booned by the moonlight, of course, because he is a vampire. I do like this though. Moonbathing rather than sunbathing heals a vampire's wounds. Yay! Halfway through it, fist in the head. Like, I'm guessing that Kaganui probably isn't a fan of hearing that most days, every day, you know? So then, yep, we're going to do the old foot bite, you know? Lot of feet this arc, huh? And now she's analyzing. Again, very much in a robotic sense, which is mirroring a lot of kind of a themes, right? That she isn't a robot per se, but she has a very robotic personality, which comes through in a lot of these mannerisms, as well as think about the opening. It's all very robotic there. Like, kind of there's vocoded vocals that kind of really copied, pasted sense to it. I think that comes through a lot with her character. Cool, now we're going to do the next test. Hand me your hand. And yeah, we've broken the fuck out of his fingers, and he's going to scream in agony, and we've put him up a barrier so he can scream as loud as he likes. If he actually is a vampire, he can focus and repair these. He has to put some effort to ideologically and conceptually heal those fingers. He's got to think about what really means a lot to him, which makes the fingers heal. Without these, I won't be able to grasp certain things, potentially. We go into the galaxy of his mind. And what is it filled with? Planets, stars? What's in the middle? What's the center of the universe? It is, I'll give you one guess. There's a lot of images of it. I wonder if these are all from the show, too. There they are, with the little kind of cat sun at the center as well. That's nice. Yeah, and when he thinks of this, his fingers heal. That was the kind of astrological base of his true desires, right? Very funny that it's Hanakawa still, though. Yotsugi also has the results of her analysis, but I'm pretty sure Kaganui knows by this point. I should also mention that she's, canonically very light. I think that, was she always this long in the legs? I'm guessing so. But I'm thinking back to that initial scene where we first saw her. She's balancing on that one pole, and then she jumps along, and then she, way back in Nisei. Yeah, it all just tracks, Yeah, we kind of hold back on some information here, though, right? You're probably turning into a vampire, but I'm not sure I'm the one that should tell you the rest. You do end up being the one eventually, though. I think I would like you to call to Shinobu Ne-san for me to get her to tell you the news. We've also got this like almost Disney-esque castle, this like ice castle, maybe some frozen tech that we're going to use for Shinobu to try and look all high and mighty. She's probably been hiding since Kaganui was the one that was just standing on her head, and that was both disrespectful and probably very scary because she was able to sneak up on her, and nobody ever does that to Shinobu, and she has to keep up this appearance of the world famous best vampire, most scariest person thing to ever live, right? Where in reality that's probably just not the case anymore. She's probably more focused on donuts than any of that. If it's going to take some effort, I can just stick my arm into your shadow and pull her out like some internal organ, is what Kaganui is thinking based on this little image up here as well. Grab on with enough feeling, as if I was pulling all her blonde hair out, and then she appears, and she's got a little costume change. I'm guessing she's trying to look as official as possible. She was in a bit more of a summery dress before, now she's put on the full like almost like goth shit. She's trying to look as evil and menacing as possible, and it's just not working. Like on the throne still doesn't portray any level of respect outwardly. I don't see it. Yeah, it took me a while to get this scene, but yeah, now I understand, right? It is a little bit embarrassing, but not that embarrassing, right? I like how respectful Kaganui is, but she's like kind of snickering as well, like, oh, this is precious, I think the VA work sells it a lot too. She kind of kills it with the kakas and the apologizing and the kind of trying to keep prideful. Yeah, and as I noted in the reaction as well, this kind of movement on the hand is kind of just mad. It's something you don't normally see. I want to keep highlighting stuff like this because it is a change from the norm. I like how Araragi also comes up with a blatant lie just to make her feel better. Back there, you used your body to cover my head so Kaganui-san wouldn't step on it. You were really being respectful for me, and I appreciate that. A devoted act of self-sacrifice. If you think that, you won't hurt your pride, right? It'll make it all better. And then she instantly believes it. It's, again, kind of ridiculous. This makes Shinobu all very happy, and then Yotsugi with the line, I really lost against someone like this. Yeah, you did, unfortunately. And this is all very fourth wall as well, right? I guess we have all the actors on stage, all the information gathered, all the answers now, and normally at this part of the story, we would just solve it, right? You know, everything would go back to normal, the story arc would finish, and we would continue on our merry way. Instead, no, we're being faced with an impossible task, an unfixable task. How will Araragi respond? Yeah, kind of too bad I can't pause here to challenge the viewers. Again, I'm pretty sure this is fourth wally. Your body, as of right now, is rather currently and slowly, bit by bit, becoming that of a vampire's. She uses a lot of different, I guess, superlatives here. And he's very calm. It's like, well, I've turned into a vampire a number of times. That's the exact problem. This whole Monogatari thing, kind of turning into what you try to be and all that jazz, right? The whole aberration tech, so to speak, if you outwardly portray aberration-esque qualities enough, it's just a matter of time, you know? So yeah, these two know the gravity of the situation. The other two don't really grasp it yet. Kind of alluding to Oshino. Oshino hasn't talked to you guys at all? Well, Oshino-kun could never calculate, was none other than your own actions, Araragi, right? He could never calculate that. So it makes sense that he doesn't see the danger here. And this line again, right? You buffed your experience too much, which means you debuffed your intelligence by doing so many stupid things. Ha ha ha. As a result, fundamentally different from the stuff with Heart Under Blade, Shinobu, that whole jam, you're leaning towards the soul of a vampire. We've also got this kind of faux audience in the role of these snowmen as well. I don't really see much else there rather than them being maybe audience surrogates, just watching the mystery unfold. Like this shot in particular, this is just like a crowd of people watching like an event, right? And normally us specialists put a barrier between that, but, you know, nothing was calculated. From the beginning, nothing was calculated. And yeah, kind of blaming the snake god specifically, him going to that shrine every day and kind of throwing his vampiric body into the fray. And yeah, Araragi did that because he felt some responsibility for the Sengoku situation. He wanted to make her situation right, as well as fixing his situation. And then here's the kicker, right? This is the real, like, next level thing for Monogatari. This is the kind of status quo changer. So what do I need to do, Ononoki-chan? What do you mean? Well, how can I turn back into human? Ononoki said, with no hesitation and no consideration, with doll-like eyes, she said in a doll-like manner, impossible. Well, it's impossible. There's no way to fix this. And yeah, straight into the ED after that. Yeah, and that's where we end off. So again, as I've alluded to in the past, I'm pretty sure this is where we're going, like, overall season show-esque, right? It'd just make a lot of sense, right? It's where we started, it's where we should finish, a focus on Araragi. It would make sense that somewhere in Koyomi Monogatari, we address this, maybe this gets fixed, and then we move into the Owari stuff. Unsure. But yeah, this is like, whoa, what are we going to do now? But again, how does this link into any of our Yotsugi doll stuff that we were talking about? Unsure. Unsure for sure. But again, the same way Yotsugi's maybe pretending to be a human, pretending to be a vampire, is similarly terrible. But can we make the same implication that her continually doing these similar things in a human state, right? The same way that, you know, Araragi's doing for vampire is causing her to maybe slowly become human from a corpse? I don't know. Maybe that's the direction we go. That's the reason why it's being paired with this Araragi revelation. But yeah, I'll probably come back tomorrow and talk more about this. But for now, that episode was quite funny and produced extremely well. So shout outs to that, and I'll see you again tomorrow for another episode. But yeah, this was very good. See you then. And we're back for episode 3 right now. A little bit colder today. Got the rugby on. which is always an indicator that it's getting a little bit colder. So that's always good. We're going to get cozy. We're going to go watch some more Monogatari here today after that kind of cliffhanger at the end of episode 2. So yeah, have episode 3 up here ready to go. 25 minutes and 42 seconds on this one, so sync up accordingly. And yeah, picture in picture, call girl subs, all ready to go. Radio? 3, 2, 1, go. Blood? I mean, it was in a wine glass, but, you know, blood vampires, yeah. Ooh, like a puzzle. Oh, we solved the puzzle, though. Ooh, okay, that's very mature. Yeah, this is very mature. Yeah. Atonement. Yeah, this is very, very mature. Yet. Yeah. What is it? The status quo, huh? The opposite of change. But there's still a large part of the show left, so I don't think that's entirely practical. Unless, I don't know. I mean, whatever this Orgi Gainazuko thing is it's going to end in tears somehow, so we're going to need to use the power. I thought it had already started like something that was irreversible. If he just stops doing vampire stuff, it just stops naturally as well. It's not like a continuous thing. Okay. Yeah, I was stupid during last episode's analysis. Like, it's so obvious how the change, uh, removal from status quo stuff from the first episode is coming into this now, right? Because if you think about this as your typical arc again, you would run into the point where Araragi would use his powers and save everybody and do that whole side of it, right? And now he's not able to. This opening's delightful, though. I'm going to mention it every single time, so it is known by everybody that this is really good. Don't like the stare, though. Yeah, okay, so the episode tie thing, it didn't, like, change. So they're all episode tie. The moon... Yo. Like a, like a music box. Okay. Yeah. If you want things to stay the way they are. I love the moon. I don't think... Yeah, this is completely in contrast with Araragi's personality, though. Standing at a crossroad, though. Oh yeah, good point. You hate aberrations. You would. You're scary. Yeah. It's true. I'm sure we will as well. Oh, the tension. The future. Oh no, they're just egoing it, it's fine. What are you going to say? Huh. This is a fucking cool scene. And you don't want that? Yeah, it is, but, making promises like this when people's lives on the line is difficult. What are these poses? Are you going to make that promise? Stand against an aberration, huh? There's a lot of loopholes there. Yeah, that's the problem. It's completely counter to who you are. Yeah. Of course he's going to use everything in his power to help them. Exactly. Yep. It's true. I agree with everything that's being said. Looks like the ice is melted. Okay. What? How so? Shinobu's very quiet. Okay. Okay. I trust you? I won't break your bones by surprise. It most certainly is, yes. I like the little Pac-Man joke, though. That was pretty good. For the most part. Pajama party. It depends if she's as degenerate as you. Well, won't she just know already? What is this tension? Yeah, you nipped it in the bud. Yeah, there's some music, yeah? Sure. Well, I mean, you are. Yeah. Okay. Who is this guy? Who is this guy? I do. I do. I think that'll be kind of interesting. Uh, sure. A Tadatsuru? Big old head tilt? I too hold my phone like this. How so? Uh, uh, okay. Yeah, what is happening? We're immediately faced with a situation where he may need to use his powers. Oh yeah, good old unlimited rulebook, I remember. Great. The sound effects, they're just killer, huh? They're very funny. I like funny stuff. Alright, I mean, that's two beds that don't have people in them. No. I smelt the futons. Okay. Interesting pose. Ooh, a crane. Bit of origami. The origami killer? Oh. And what is it? 1,000 paper cranes? Tadatsuru? Okay. What does it all mean? Oh. Sure. Doll Master? You're a doll? Math? Yeah, okay. I don't like the Doll Master already. Okay. Zetsubo? I know. Yeah, that's the problem. That's no good. The lighting's cool too. You think it's planned? Huh. The doings of a person, huh? I feel like Augie may be involved. Okay. Whatever you say. Okay. I like this, like, Elsa shit. Teori taratsuru. Is he very forthright in his beliefs? I just want to meet him. He's aesthetic. Oh, he's a bit of an artist, is he? Well, he's a doll master. Okay. Obsession doesn't sound good, though. Yeah, you'd just kill him. We've seen that. Okay. Yeah. It's my brain is being fried like an egg. Well, you don't really want to save. Oh, help. Okay. You're using them on anything else. Okay. This this track in the music is killer. I see. Mm-hmm. Artificial, malicious, intentional. Oh, up at the shrine, hey? Is there like 4 locations in town? Alright, it's time to go then. Yes, sir. Gotta sneak up, maybe. Okay. Alright, I guess I'll jump on this small girl then. No. Slow is good. Oh. Again, I thought it was pretty bad on his body doing that. I thought that was part of the meme from before. But yeah, okay, that was like context to the episode. Again, it's like a one conversation type beat. Um it needs a reread desperately. Desperately bad, and it needs me to actually read every line and try to like zero in on some stuff. Because I thought I had it semi figured out what we're trying to say, and now I don't. Not as much. Again, the I guess the important plot stuff is Tadatsuru, I think his name is. Um, he's got some hostages. They're very important people to Araragi. and he's not going to be able to use his powers. It's all very convenient. It stinks of Augie, especially given our lack of like perspective character that would have been influenced by an Augie. You know what I mean? So in the structure of, say, a Tori Monogatari, we would have seen Augie already talking with, say, Tadatsuru, trying to set that up, but we don't get to see that because it's an Araragi job this time. We only get to see the outcome, not the plan in motion, which is kind of interesting. But yeah, stinks of Augie bad. And yeah, jumping into a little bit of analysis on that episode. So yes, that was episode 3 of Tsukimonogatari, and it was a very wordy one, and it was a very conversational episode, and it went in kind of a million directions in a way that's kind of hard to summarize. So Araragi now has the limiter of if he uses his vampiric powers again, he won't be able to hold the vampirism back. Essentially, you can't use your powers anymore, right? For all intents and purposes, unless you want bad things to happen, bad consequences that we don't want to happen as an audience, you can't use these powers. There's even an implicit promise from Yotsugi with Araragi, like kind of an oath that he won't use them again, which was very, very interesting scene. I actually really enjoyed it. Kind of the music this whole episode was killer, especially in that scene though. But yeah, we'll talk about it more. I don't see some situations where he will be able to hold back knowing Araragi. But again, that's the kind of trouble we're going to put Araragi in this episode. Kind of contrast that with what he has to do with Nadeko as well, right? Not get involved. Here, explicitly, he has to not get involved again or dire consequences, you know? So then we kind of talk about a lot of different things in like, you know, there's a whole like 10 minutes of the episode where we jump from subject to subject. So we're setting up context there. We're setting up context around how Kaganui does things, who this Tadatsuru guy is, how he may be similar to her in some ways and different in other ways. We have to set up a little bit of Shinobu being like weirdly distant about the whole thing as well, clearly feeling some type of way about it, as well as some Yotsugi jokes, banter. I don't know. Then the background's gone crazy too. It's a pretty jam-packed episode, if I'm honest. And then the plot starts a little bit more. We get a phone call, Guy and Izuko telling Kagadui that Araragi's sisters and Kambaru have been stolen from that kind of Kambaru's house and taken away. They've been kidnapped, and the culprit is Tadatsuru, a specialist not under Guy and Izuko's network. So that's bad. Who fed him this information that tonight would be a very good night to do this if you want to get to Araragi himself? You should do it tonight. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, so clearly he's targeting Araragi. He got fed some very, very good information about a great night to target somebody close to him. And yeah, this is what happened. So now we have to go to the shrine. We're forced into a situation where Araragi can't use his powers to save the girl right in front of him, as he normally does. He is going to have to do something different. Think about this in context with, we're referencing Nisei Monogatari, specifically Tsukihi Phoenix a lot. Think about what he did in that arc. Now he won't be able to do anything similar. He won't be able to flagellate himself embarrassingly in front of another specialist. He'll need to think of a different way, right? To save an immortal person close to him, thus, as well as saving himself. You know what I mean? Like, we've set up a pretty interesting, intriguing climax here. Another thing I'm interested in is, what is this guy's character design going to look like? I have not heard of this character ever in my entire life, so I don't know. I don't know how involved he is. I don't know how special he is going forward, so we're going to have to see. I don't really know. Alright, so yeah, got the episode up here, which is all very good. And yeah, we're going to go through at our own pace and try to re-examine some of the stuff that potentially went over my head. I was pretty silent during the actual reaction, so again, I was trying to get it all in. Didn't exactly work, but we're going to see from here. We get some pretty cool little visual stuff early about, you know, I thought that this was going to be a puzzle that we couldn't solve. I thought that would have maybe been a better direction. But yeah, you know, just trying to find that word vampire and a lot of stuff, kind of starting on the big glasses of blood as well, you know, that kind of symbolism. But yeah, kind of the first part here before the opening is all about him just accepting it, right? He doesn't piss and moan about it. He doesn't, chuck a tantrum. This is the reality we're faced with right now. These people wouldn't lie to me about something like this. There's no stages of grief here. He's all the way straight to acceptance. And this was surprising to me, right? I thought that there would be a little bit more of a reaction here. And no, was not here at all. And immediately, remorseful. I've been pretty reckless with this thing, I've been drinking them like monster energies, and, it's turning me into a monster, basically. Atonement, compensation for the power that he's used. Very, very explicit mention of compensation as a term. But yeah, this is our ray of hope. It's not like you've lost everything human about you yet. There's no way to rewind or fix what you have, but if you don't use it anymore, you're going to be fine. You're going to be able to live that normal life. And, explicit mention of this word, I mentioned it in the reaction as well, keep the status quo, right? The exact opposite of change. There's a way that we can prevent change here, and that's you not using your power again, right? This whole arc is about change, and now upon seeing this line again, right? I think we're going to be forced into a situation where we need to use the power, and again, that's going to be our ticking time bomb. But of course, Araragi is going to stay true to himself in that moment as well, and reap what he sows in a way. He's going to be himself to the end. That's how I foresee it going right now, anyway. Cool. Then we get this scene buoyed by this manic moon. Maniacal moon. I don't know what else to call it. It's almost like an eclipse, and kind of the smoke, kind of the dread falling off of it. I can't describe it any other way than vampiric. It's giving me huge Tsukimonogatari vibes, which is just makes sense. Yeah, this shot and then the opposite shot with the other two. This is just good art. They're standing at a crossroad. There's the trains whizzing past as well. It's fucking cool. I don't know how else to say it. It's fucking cool. Like a random spotlight on Yotsugi who's spinning like a music box doll. We have Kaganui just standing on some random shit too, just being light as air. It's just fucking cool. And this is the question that we're going to be faced with right at the end of this episode. That's why we're bringing it up now. But also for the rest of the show, if what I think happens next episode doesn't happen, we're going to go into a situation where he's going to be faced with the life or death situation of somebody close to him, somebody that he really likes, right? Be it Hanakawa, be it Senjugahara, be it even, say, a Kambaru, be it Shinobu, right? He's not going to be able to do anything? Hell fucking no. Hell fucking no, Araragi's not going to do that. Of course he's going to put others before himself. Have you seen the rest of the show? This just is incompatible with what we know, unless he makes a drastic 11th hour change in his character. And again, as I've said a couple of times now, standing at that crossroads, right? Right here. Which way should I go? Shinobu by my side. Great stuff. And of course, this line of thinking spurs on a little bit of a, I don't know what you would call it, kind of like a butting of the horns between Kaganui and Shinobu. Because, Kaganui has to kill immortal aberrations, such as vampires. So you'd be in her firing line. She isn't going to make an exception for you. You're going to be an aberration. You're going to die. Of course, we know how Shinobu's going to react to that. She's going to fight to the death with whoever tries to kill Araragi. I mean, would do well to be scared of Kaganui, but we've also seen Shinobu at full power. Actually, no, scratch that. Arguably, we haven't. So that would be a fight for sure. So again, we're setting up stakes. And more and more clearly to me, it seems that next episode, Araragi's going to make that choice. And then everything's going to change. It's going to change how we consider characters and motivations for basically a lot of the cast going forward. I do like how demented this frame is, though. She really hits that kill, which is I don't know the word, but she really hits it. She emphasizes on it in a really cool way in the VA performance. Yeah, she does a way better job at pulling off intimidating here than she did last episode, where she was very meek and kind of embarrassing, if I'm honest. This whole time she doesn't stop spinning, huh? She loves a good pirouette. Yotsugi. And this is where Yotsugi kind of takes center stage here. She's got both the spotlights on her. I want to ask you this as a friend, right? As a confidant, Devil Boy. Oni-Oni-chan. Never again, never again, never again, I want you to promise me you'll never rely on the powers of a vampire. No matter what hardships you face, swear you'll act without relying on the powers of the immortal. Because I know my master, I know her code of ethics, I know what she does and when she does it and how she does it, and I know that you'd be toast. I don't want you to go away, so please, please, please don't do it. You know, you'd like to think that Yotsugi would have a soft spot for Araragi, right? And you know, again, she knows her master should be right in the middle of that conflict. She doesn't want to be put in that situation, desperately so. Of course, she would have to fight as well. She's only a Shikigami. She only takes orders, right? She doesn't get to make up the orders. And yeah, Araragi accepts. I understand, Ononoki-chan, Kaganui-san. I won't do it. Actually, no, he has some very specific wording. I forgot. I understand, I swear, I won't borrow the power for the vampire and use it to stand against an aberration ever again. Stand against an aberration? What if I stand against a specialist? Huh? This is like some Tsukimonogatari shit. This is like the split between human and monster that we're talking about as well. Huh. Very cool. With the moon in the background. Yo, this show's sick. Yeah, so he doesn't break his promise next episode when he, inexplicably uses his powers, his vampiric powers, against the specialist Tadatsuru. They even call him out on it. That's a pretty shallow oath. It is. I myself don't have absolute confidence in whether or not I can uphold this oath when push comes to shove. Like, they're basically telling you that it's not going to hold. I wouldn't think about the consequences and save the person right in front of my eyes. That's the kind of guy Araragi Koyomi is, right? In an arc that's all about deviating from the norm, is he going to stay true to himself to the very end? And then I like this background as well. We're bringing in this ice theme pretty continuously, right? It must be a pretty cold night. This one's a little bit more like it's melted a little bit, and it's like ice that you would skate on. So yeah, they're ready to walk away, but they have to do one more check on Araragi's body that they don't really even do. Yeah, and noticeably in the back, right? We don't really see a lot of you. You must be feeling some type of way about this, right? Like, you more than anybody would know Araragi and know that he won't be able to hold back, and you must feel like this is coming to an end. She essentially here says, don't apologize for the situation. You and I are in the same boat. We share a destiny to the very end. And the fact that we're even together now is a greater miracle in of itself. So yeah, it's Yotsugi's job to examine every inch of him. Again, like a doll, as we see in the visual language here. Araragi has some different ideas about how it'll go, though. If I ask whether or not I'm relieved Ononoki is doing it, but those words of hers, you flitted over and somehow feel, if it's not a surprise attack, she will break bones, it feels like she's just made that declaration. Whatever you say. And then, yeah, he gets the revelation that, hey, she may use her mouth for it and then lick my every orifice, which, sure, I understand why Araragi's into it. That's enough. But we do this neat joke with the Pac-Man, right? Yeah, we're up and down the body. It's pretty good. Cool. So then we move the conversation randomly to, is it okay if you don't call home, Araragi? We're going to be here all night. Blah 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 blah. It's fine. They leave me alone for the most part. Even the sisters, they're off and taken care of in a way. And we have this really ominous music in the background as well. That now we know it's really fitting because they're not actually safe at Kambaru's house. Something is happening as we speak, almost. I like this little art style change we do for showing them making their way to Kambaru's house. Of course, Kambaru's going to love it with Araragi's two sisters around. Did her a big service in the process. As we see later on, there's a joke around her only laying out 2 futons, implying that she'll be sleeping in the middle of them, right? Cool job, Kambaru, I guess. You're very much like Araragi. And now we're going to contact Guy Nezuko and tell her that it's not a big deal. Kaganui here laments that she wasn't able to kill the immortal aberration itself, but, defanged it before it was even born, which is, a plus in the process. And then we're asking, again, leading questions for Kaganui that's going to lead us onto Tadatsuru, which is going to lead us onto the phone call. Why do you want to kill immortal aberrations so much, Kaganui? And then kind of goes into the ethical consideration of it. Most of them are ghosts anyway, so they're pretty much dead already, so killing them is weird. And again, leading on, it's not like they're, aren't any other specialists that don't specialize in the same field, such as there's one other guy, at least one other guy that we know, huh? He's a total hermit. You wouldn't have to worry about him, Araragi. I think I will. It is nice of Guy Izuka to wait for all the context to be out there before making her phone call that's, pretty terrible. Yeah, okay, what is this part? Let me go back here. To be honest, it's on my mind so much I must be mindfully curious. Well, instead of worrying about my reasons, if anything, you guys need to worry about Yotsugi's reasons. What for doing what she does. I haven't really given it much thought. I thought that she was just your, little pet person. Does she have some intrinsic motivation around the subject as well? I mean, knowing what we know about her, she's all very matter of fact, but also, she's a shikigami of a corpse of a, she's she has a bit of identity crisis going on, right? It could be justified that she's already dead and still living. Isn't that a little bit contradictory with our whole immortal aberration idea? I don't know. We'll have to go and see. But yeah, this is leading in and then gets interrupted by the guy in phone call. So obviously this is a point of contention. This is something we need to keep in mind. Great editing on this phone call though, right? Makes it look really intimidating, whatever she's hearing, right? All these head tilts, down and then up this way as well. That's just great stuff. Just as she's getting the information that's so terrible for Araragi. I do like the way she holds her phone too. That is very nice. Kind of like it's covered in toilet water or something. The worst possible timing brings the worst possible news. Your sister's been kidnapped. Tadetsuru's out and about doing his thing. It's just as you can't use your powers. It truly is the worst possible timing. Almost, specifically the worst possible timing, which makes it suspicious. Yep, so we jump over with Unlimited Rulebook, and we're going to see if the sisters have been stolen. This is another great piece of animation, just randomly, with the sound effect. Bit of slapstick, even in this most dire of moments. And there we go, no people here. Instead, only one paper crane at the scene. Again, shoutouts to Yotsugi's, random poses this episode. There was just a shot, between her legs, and now she's, this could be a meme. She's, pointing at something. Look at this. That's pretty good. So Araragi grabs the paper crane. It turns into 1,000 paper cranes. It's the doing of somebody we know. This is a guy that likes magic tricks. He likes surprising people with malicious intent. But the reason he left a crane is because it's the shape of a bird, specifically a phoenix, Tsukihi phoenix. In other words, that crane, that group of birds said to live 1,000 years, points to your little sister, Araragi Tsukihi. And, by extension, kind of alludes to a lot of immortal aberrations in the process. So Tiori Tadetsuru is the name. He's a doll master. There's a math joke here that I don't really understand, but sure. Yeah, that feels extremely Japanese. If any context there would be nice. Tadetsuru tends to act on grudges and is a pretty big softie when it comes to actual work, so the situation isn't as hopeless as you may be thinking right now. He hasn't done anything to them. It's clearly, as we learn later, a method to get to Araragi. Alright, and then this is our lead-in, right? So he's it's kind of ironic, right? In the process of trying to seal Shinobu's power away for the greater good, in my way of, equally sharing the terribleness of the ending of Tsukimonogatari, I inherited some of her power, and before I knew it, I started using it as my own. It's my divine punishment for acting this way. Well, no, it isn't a divine punishment. There's no greater goodness about it. It's way too specific for that. And then, yeah, I feel like we're talking about Orgi. We're going to find out in good time, I guess. Yeah, so the way I envision it is that Orgi would have tipped off Tadetsuru, knowing that this is the one day that it's going to teeter over to the vampire power status, and Araragi may do the thing with the sisters where he sends them to a certain location where they'll be vulnerable, so, this guy wants to get at Araragi, this is the best day to do it, he won't be able to use his powers, just, pretty classic Orgi stuff, giving the right people the right information at the right time. I still really don't know what Orgi's deal was in the last arc, in Hana Monogatari. Why did she tell Kanbaru that? I can't really think of a reason, unless it has to do with the devil parts that are now in the possession of Araragi. Am I wrong? Weird. Anyway, that's food for thought for further in the series, I'm sure. Ononoki-chan's story. Maybe that was the story of the darkness the other day. The story about Hachikuji Mayoi. Right, that story is the embodiment of what I hid away. And the embodiment of what's crashing down on me. I don't really understand this. Yeah, that feels like there's something there to glean that I'm not quite getting yet. Then Araragi pretty naturally starts asking some questions about Tiori Taratsuru, which, he's about to go and confront him. It makes a lot of sense. Again, we're continuing with this AEST-themed background stuff. Kind of fits that it's a little bit cold today outside for me, so, I'm really feeling the chill. I don't really understand why we're doing it. It's a cool aesthetic, but I wouldn't really associate Kaganui with icy. I'd associate that with Yotsugi a little bit, icy in the way of like not very emotional. But cold ice, warm blood, vampire? Maybe? I don't know. It's a tough one for me. It's a cool aesthetic, I'm just wondering why. So does Taratsuru have, say, concrete ideals? Is he that way inclined? He has no links to things like that. Let's say that Taratsuru had things such as ideals. If I think they would be a curiosity of aesthetics, though I don't want to describe it with the word aesthetic. The sensibility to think that it's the things that God didn't create that are beautiful. Okay? A tendency for the artificial? Someone with the sensibility to think that man-made existences called aberrations are beautiful, but in the process still wants to destroy the immortal ones? How does immortality versus change as a theme in the arc? I don't know. This is going to make a way more sense when I actually meet the bloke and see what he's like. Because right now I just don't know. I don't know what he's like. I'm hearing it in the second person. Oh, in the background we do have a lot of like goofing around by Shinobu and Yotsugi, which is a little bit of fun. It's nice that they're having a good time while we're sussing out the details. He doesn't have ideals, but an obsession. That's why your little sisters and your underclassmen are safe, or still safe, right? His obsession, right? He doesn't get lost in kind of that whole side of it, in the kidnapping side. He has an obsession about you, Araragi, and he wants to focus it in on you, I think. I think that's what we're getting at. Why is somebody with the idea that aberrations are beautiful going after them like this? Maybe he's more similar to Oshino than we think. It's not like defeating them, but more like mediating here and there, being a middleman. This Taratsuru guy feels like the perfect specialist. Don't drown. I mean, to yourself, and not to your powers. That's just narcissism. What I mean is that you shouldn't drown yourself with a tragic situation. You should keep in high spirits, I guess? All that happened is that some weirdo kidnapped your two little sisters and your underclassmen. Work on it from that perspective. Don't get all big picture on me. Work on the details we have. I will say, as much as what's happening on screen, like in the animation, is quite funny. There's now a snowball fight between Yotsugi and Shinobu. I'm really trying to focus in on the dialogue, and it's quite distracting. But again, it's funny and well made, so you can't really argue that much. You're probably just going to have to watch this episode 2 times if you really want to get all the details out, unless you're like way better at this than me, which is entirely possible. Yeah, have a more outward view of saving people, of justice, and that side of it, again, rather than big picture stuff, because you'll drown if you do, So say you're a sports person, right? And it's a big game, game's on the line, 5 seconds to go, blah, 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 blah. You don't think about the occasion. You don't think about everything else from that perspective, right? You think about what I have to do in the next 5 minutes to get victory. And I think that's the perspective that Yotsugi wants Araragi to approach this with. Or not Yotsugi, Kaganui. And then Araragi asks for help. Kaganui can't help explicitly, right? She's, kind of bound that way. But Yotsugi's going to help. And that's probably going to be enough. Specifically asking Gai Nezuko, like, should I go with the flow? Yes, you should go with the flow. Weird. Yeah, her powers are meant for killing immortal aberrations, not other specialists, so of course I'm not going to do that, but you can have Yotsugi. It's a really inspiring musical track here that I think is a very inspired choice as well. Gives me a little bit of Kensuke Ushio, some of his really inspiring tracks. Yeah, the soundtrack's been one of the bigger highlights of these past couple episodes, actually. It's been really damn good. And then, yeah, we're spilling all the beans here. If what Kaganui thinks is true, then Tadatsuru's after you, Araragi, right? He clearly left that crane as a message for you, another immortal aberration that, I've basically baited you. You need to come and save these people close to you. I have good info that you will follow through on this, and yeah, please show up at this location. So Oshino-kun, we get a little bit of background here, which is quite interesting. I also like the two snowmen in the background. That's pretty good. But Oshino-kun probably gave information to Guy Nezuko initially when we weren't even aware of her presence that, hey, these two, they're harmless. We don't need to worry about them. And Guy Nezuko's probably like, yeah, you're right. They're not. This guy, Tadatsuru, is outside of the network. All he sees is another different immortal aberration that needs to be taken out, right? He doesn't have that info. So he's going to do what he needs to do, basically. At the precise correct time when you're powerless enough to be taken out, there's somebody after you. Artificial, intentional, and malicious is how this bad timing feels. Feels like three very specific words. So he opens up all of the cranes, north, Shirahebi Shrine, make your way there very, very soon for some kind of confrontation. Of course it's at the shrine. It couldn't not be at the shrine. There's like 4 locations in town. There's the park, there's the cram school, there's the shrine, there's Araragi's house. That's like basically it. Okay, I guess this is more of what Kaganui was talking about immense focus on objective. This is your mission, to take your 2 little sisters and your underclassmen, Guy and Senpai's niece, and tuck them into their futons ready for bed and do that side of it, right? By morning, by sunrise, right? These are your conditions, you need to execute on it. Almost very robotic. I guess she's just trying to simplify things and make Araragi think of the way to accomplish this without, again, big picture stuff. And then, yeah, this is our setup. We're about to jump over very close to the shrine, make our way up there. They're not going to be able to do any interplay between Kaganui and Araragi, of course. Kaganui is basically just there to watch. But yeah, this is, again, the setup for the final episode. Should I go slower? No, don't worry. Blast us over there. You hear that sound effect and then into the ED. That's interesting, right? Don't show any caution. Throw caution to the wind and go over there as fast as possible. Maybe I'm just trying to see it, but that feels like more justification for what he's going to do, which is, again, not think things entirely through, rip the band-aid off, and save the person that's right in front of him. But yeah, that's the end of that episode there. I don't really see how this is a Yotsugi arc at all. Now it's basically another Araragi arc in disguise so far. The Yotsugi stuff is more relevant in talking about roles and trying to be things and changing, and that side of what we have going on. It doesn't seem all that specific to her other than that. But yeah, we're set up with a situation. I've said it a number of times now. I'm pretty sure Araragi's going to break his little promise there. Or not break, but, basically break. Because the wording was very specific. That's going to be the setup for Monogatari going forward. That we're now a ticking time bomb. Whatever happens from here on in is got a time limit on it, based on Araragi's personality. Basically, he's going to make a decision that is very, very personal to him. He's not going to change in that way, and because of it, he's going to. I don't know what's going to happen. He's going to turn into a vampire, basically. It's pretty bad. I wonder if maybe you should consult Senjo Gahara about doing such a thing, but again, he needs to save the people, it's time sensitive, blah, 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 blah. But yeah, there's loads of interesting stuff there, especially around Kaganui, who's got like a ton of really specific and interesting lines going on there. The production on this episode in particular was amazingly good. Great music, incredible art. That scene, that kind of confrontation where they're both standing on not either side of the tracks, but kind of along the tracks, making decisions, threatening each other. Thought that was a great scene. And then, yeah, we still got this whole Ice Kingdom aesthetic going on as well, which is, yeah, something for sure. I'm not really sure what to make of it, but it exists. Leading into the next episode, we're obviously going to meet this Tadatsuru guy, see what he has to say. I'm holding a lot of judgment on him until I see him and he explains a little bit about what he does. I think they implied it was a he. Pretty sure it's a he. Yeah, interesting 2 episodes. I feel like there's some themes I'm missing that I could talk about a little bit more, but I'm blanking on them. Maybe I'll get them during editing. I don't know. Either way, sure stuff. If you like the video, consider liking the video. If you like the video and you want to see more, consider subscribing to the channel. Comment below anything you thought about the episode, anything I could do to improve my presentation. Comment below. I'm doing follow for follow on Twitter, so follow me on Twitter if you'd like me to follow you back. And the Discord, join Discord. Love Discord, 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 Discord. Looking forward to the last episode of Tsukimonogatari next week, episode 4, and then we move into Koyomi Monogatari, I believe. So again, looking very, very much forward to it, and I'll see you then. Same Monogatari day, same Monogatari time. You know? Right, yeah. I'll catch you guys later.